Can we stop treating inclusions like they're just flavor add-ins? Hi, I'm Annette, micro baker in Chicago and owner of Dough My Goodness Bakery, and I'm here to help you simplify sourdough. Starting today, I'm kicking off a series called Inside the Loaf, where I break down exactly how different inclusions behave. Every inclusion that you fold into your dough changes it. First up, jalapeño cheddar. Not just because it's one of my most popular flavors, but because they're both moisture bombs. And they weigh a lot too. If you don't add enough, you don't get the flavor. If you add too much, you get a flat loaf. Cheddar cheese sits around 35 to 40% moisture, plus the fat, and both release into your dough as you mix it in, as you proof it, and as you bake it. Quick note, not all cheeses behave the same. Some fresh cheeses like mozzarella or ricotta are even wetter. And some hard aged cheeses like Parmesan sit at around 20% moisture. So in short, if you sub in Parm and you don't make any other adjustments, it's going to affect your bake. And peppers are basically like little water balloons with a kick. The second you mix them in, they start weeping liquid into your dough. If you build a jalapeño cheddar loaf and you don't adjust your hydration at all, you set yourself up for a slack, sticky dough that won't hold its shape. Here are some of the inclusions in the moisture releasing category. Basically anything wet or fatty that can leach moisture into your dough. I have a long form video called the 10 Simple Steps to Sourdough. That's the video that contains my base recipe. The hydration in that loaf is 68%, and honestly, that's a great hydration for most bakes. Basically what I'm saying is that it's a low enough hydration, it can handle jalapeño cheddar without making it a soupy mess. But it will raise the hydration slightly. So it helps to have a little bit of practice under your belt before you go throwing in inclusions. Now, how much cheddar and jalapeno should you use? The standard amount for most inclusions is 20% of the weight of your flour. So if you're using a pretty standard recipe that calls for 500 grams of flour, 20% of that is 100 grams. So in this loaf, I added 100 grams of cheddar and 100 grams of diced jalapenos. Now, when do you add them in? Great question. For me, it really depends on batch size. If I'm doing one single loaf, I will fold in the inclusions during the final shape. If I'm doing a really big batch, like for a market, I will fold them in during my coil folds. Doing it that way makes it a lot easier to distribute them more evenly over larger batches of dough. But because the cheddar and jalapeno sit in the dough for much longer and I have to handle it and shape it after those go in, I will then reduce the hydration specifically in that batch, which just means to put in less water. Both methods work, but I'm going to show you how to do it during shaping. This dough's been through bulk, and I'm turning it over and starting to laminate it out flat. I'm working this out into a rectangle shape. The cheddar goes on first, spreading that out evenly across the center. Quick reminder, if you're not already wearing gloves, now is the time. I learned this the hard way, trust me. Little spilled past where I want it, so I'm sweeping that back in, and this border right here is what I'm working to keep clear, like a pizza crust edge. Once the cheese and jalapenos are set, then I begin folding this like an envelope. The first third into the middle, then I pinch this edge to crease a clear line. That gives the next fold somewhere to land so that the inclusions stay stacked on top instead of spilling into the open gap. Bringing the other two corners over now, sealing the edges well as I go. A few pieces popped out, so I'm tucking those back in and making sure every seam is closed. Then I turn this log sideways and then I begin to flatten it out to make room for one more layer. After I add those in, I press it so it holds. Again, picking up those bottom corners, I stretch them slightly, fold over that first section to tuck this layer of inclusions in so nothing falls out. And I seal that edge before I go any further. I'm doing a modified sort of like fold rolling here. I tuck pieces back in if they fall out, and I seal it as I go. I'm going to poke and pinch here. You poke it with one finger and then pinch it shut with the other hand to really seal up that seam. Pull a little tension here, but the second I start to see those jalapeno lumps through the top of the dough, that's my cue to stop. And pick it up, dust it with flour, put it down, seam side up. A little bit of stitching here, but I'm keeping it very gentle. I do not want to pull this too tight. I want it to stay intact. So I dust the seam with flour to help seal it shut, cover it with something breathable. Into the refrigerator it goes for cold proof. Happy baking.